So I got this question, which textbook do I recommend? And I bet you have the same question too. And I'm gonna give you my expert opinion. If you haven't met me yet, my name is Kwadwo. I'm the creator of Elementary Chinese, where I help DIY learners, self-studiers outside of China, especially right here in the US of A, and in the UK, Canada, learn Chinese on their own so that they can make consistent progress over and over again. So which textbook do I recommend? First, you need to know that I'm a certified teacher in the state of Florida for Chinese K through 12, and I've lived in China for 11 to 14 years, give or take some summers. And here is my opinion. The number one textbook I recommend is still the king, Integrated Chinese. And I happen to have all four volumes right here. But this textbook is not cheap. At the making of this video, it is $61.75 on Amazon.com. The link is in the descriptions below, but I believe this book is absolutely worth it, and I'm going to show you in detail throughout the rest of this video. Keep in mind though, you are a self-studier, I'm assuming, and we can't get our days back. We only can spend this moment studying. It's better that you do Chinese right the first time. That way you don't have to go back and make things up, repeat things, relearn things as you continue to study more in the future. First thing you need to know is that if you're choosing to study with Integrated Chinese, that means you are choosing to study with a tutor or a conversation partner. This is a textbook. It's made in the USA and it's used highly by high schools and universities here in the States. So the exercise answers are highly guarded. You can only access them if you have teacher credentials because, they don't want students cheating. That means you must study with a tutor. Of course, if you're serious about studying, if you know my 3 pillars of success, those would be a textbook, bling bling right here, and a tutor that you pay, or a conversation partner that knows what they're doing, and also an online interesting resource. So again, this would be what I would call the serious method. If you want to get good, use this textbook. If you don't have access to a tutor because you can't afford it right now, or you haven't found good language exchange partners, do not get Integrated Chinese. It is not for you. There is another book called Living Language Mandarin Chinese. It's linked up in the descriptions below too. You can go and watch my review of that, get that book. It's also much cheaper. In another video, I'll be comparing the two, one versus the other. As we dive into the book, you need to know that Integrated Chinese is made here in the US for Americans, native English speakers learning Chinese. So the examples make sense, and you need to know that it is aligned with ACTFL standards. So in developing this latest edition of Integrated Chinese, they consulted the American Council on Teaching of Foreign Languages, that's ACTFL, and it's national standards for foreign language learning in the 21st century, which means it focuses on 5 areas: communication, culture, connections, comparisons, and communities. So this book has some supplementary modules inside of it, like Get Real with Chinese, Chinese chats, characterize it, and these are language conversation points. You can take those. They were meant for discussion in the classroom. You can use them for discussion with your language exchange partner. There are chances for you to go a lot deeper into the vocabulary, personalized vocabulary as in use vocabulary from your own life. Learn that, ask your language exchange partner or your tutor what those are. By the way, thank you for subscribing to my channel right here on this video if this video is useful to you. And at the end of the video, I will link up several reviews that I've done of, well, they're more like quick overviews that I've done of other Chinese textbooks too, so you can see how Integrated Chinese compares. So I'm just going to take you through one lesson, lesson 5 of volume 1, and you'll see exactly why, in a quick moment, Integrated Chinese is so good. I mean, right here on lesson 5, look at this page. It's full color, and because it's entertaining, it's captivating, and it communicates clearly, it keeps me interested. When I look at the next page, on page 126, do you see little color faces? The characters are the same throughout the book, so you get to know them well. And what I like here is you see Chinese on the left and Pinyin on the right, but there is no English. It's like Integrated Chinese is structured so you go through the dialogue first and then you have to pull out the language there. Again, it was meant to be taught, but they structure it in a way that you can self-learn as long as you're willing to ask questions to your tutor or language exchange partner. On the next page, you got a vocabulary word list. Again, everything is well explained. And then we get to, on page 129, what I like, which is Get Real with Chinese. You actually see realia, objects from real life. It's not just a black and white textbook with no real images. Indeed, I lived in China for so long, those are drinks that you can find there. Moving to the next page, you got your grammar exercises. Nothing special here. They have some classic fill in the blanks, but do you see that down at the bottom, the exercise is all in the target language, Chinese? And personally, I just like the fonts used, how the characters are nice and large. Looking at exercise B, 你想吃点什么? Okay, so they definitely have the R Hua in here, the Beijing Hua, the Beijing dialect. Mandarin is what we're learning here, and the standard dialect is very closely mirrored to the Beijing dialect. In Beijing, there are using R's all over the place, and that is reflected in this book too. Please note that if you don't like the R, but you know, the R is fine. It kind of has this prestigious status in China. So there's plenty of examples for adjectives in the chapter. Moving on to page 132, they're still breaking down the grammar, and the grammar is quite clear. Again, some of their exercises are all in the target language, and this is lesson, I'm looking at page 133, and this is level 1. Bravo. You get to the next page, page 134, and you have another Get Real with Chinese. Again, these modules where you're prompted to speak. At the bottom, you can get asked this question, try to talk about it, or use this as a discussion point with your language exchange partner to familiarize yourself with culture. And then you see in the middle of this page a bit of a tech bit, Chinese chat. So you're actually starting to get familiar with what Chinese looks like in the digital world, and that is something I have not seen in any other textbook. So on page 135, we've switched colors here, which I just like the whole color deal. We got some standard fill in the blank exercises, which is cool, but at the bottom there's characterize it, and you start analyzing characters, which I enjoy. They also have an accompanying web app. It's the Changsui web app. You can go there. It is paid, but it enriches the integrated Chinese series with lots of video, lots of extra audio, lots more explanation. So it's bringing the book right into our digital world. It's pretty cool. And on pages 136 and 137, we start to see where this book distinguishes itself. Since it's aligned to the ACTFL standards, you'll see these little squares that say interpersonal, and you'll also see ones that say interpretive and presentational. Let me break that down for you. According to ACTFL, interpretive communication is that learners understand, interpret, and analyze what is heard, and then interpersonal means that you're interacting or negotiating with the language in a spoken way, and then presentational communication skills would be presenting ideas and concepts. So the exercises in integrated Chinese are aligned with those standards for communication. This I have not seen anywhere else. You're literally learning those communication skills. And of course, these kind of exercises are the ones where you'll want to practice with your language exchange partner. Don't make the mistake I made, where I studied in university, at the University of Washington actually. My professor was one of the authors of this book, Integrated Chinese. Her name was Nianping Bi. Easily the best Chinese professor I have ever had. And I've studied in the US for a year. I studied intensive Chinese in China for 2 years. I've had tutors. She knows what she's doing. And so don't make the mistake I did, which is in a whole year of university Chinese study, I didn't talk to Chinese people. Speak to your tutor and language exchange partner, especially if you get this book. Moving along to page 138, look, interpersonal exercises, presentational exercises, and then we get another dialogue with key components highlighted, and not just highlighted or given specific colors in the characters, but also in the pinyin narrative, and they start to tell you why it's highlighted in the language known. In 140, you got another characterize it. They're already familiarizing you with character components, the enclosing component right here. So we got grammar. Moving through 142 and 143, we have more grammar and exercises to use that grammar. And then we get to the good stuff again. On page 144, you have presentational skill exercises, which you can do with a partner. On page 145, you have what is a manufactured piece of technology for the Chinese chat section. So it's just, again, trying to get you familiar with Chinese tech. And yeah, okay, if you've seen WeChat, then you understand that WeChat looks a little bit different. But still, the point is I haven't seen other books that try to get you or bridge the gap between book language, what the book is showing, versus showing real Chinese in a technology environment, which is, of course, what you will see if you are in China. Lots of WeChat on the phone. It's like Facebook and Instagram combined, but you also, it's like Uber in there too. You can order food, get cars. It's crazy, and you got to get used to reading Chinese in all these different environments if you want to succeed. My, this page is super colorful. It's a cultural literacy point. And yes, other books have like a paragraph or two scattered throughout about culture stuff, but it's never looked this good in a magazine style. And that's what I want to point out to you, is integrated Chinese just looks pretty. Let's take a look at volumes 2 through 4, just a quick peek. So here are levels 2, 3, and 4. While they do not directly correspond with the HSK, the Hanyu Shuiping Kaoshi proficiency test, given by the Chinese government, here's about what they say, because HSK says that once you get through HSK level 4, you will have about the competency that someone would after 2 years of university study. So according to the Confucius Institute, HSK levels 1 through 4 would be equivalent to about what you would study in 4 semesters of university study here in the USA. Usually in university, at least the way I did it, was this book, level 1, is divided into 2 parts. Kind of like the first part, the second part, 1 part per semester. So then, since this book takes you 2 semesters to finish, you would be at about HSK level 2 after 1 year, 2 semesters of this, about 2 to 3 class hours per week. And once you finish level 2, you would also be, because that would be 2 more semesters, or 2 years total, 4 semesters total of Chinese, you'd be at about HSK level 4. And there are 4 of these integrated Chinese books. So I'm assuming around HSK level 5. Again, we're comparing apples to oranges, but you'll be taken care of if you go through all 4. Quick reminder, all the links to these books that I'm discussing in the video are in the descriptions below. Click down there and then you can go and see them however they are currently priced on Amazon and ship them directly to your house here in the US. So let's look at the second one. And just thumbing through the pages, we got lessons that cover birthday parties, seeing a doctor, dating, renting an apartment, sports, travel at the airport. So here is a dialogue from page 198. Pause the video if you need to look at that, but that is about how good you would need to be halfway through the book. And now we're going on through lesson 20 at the airport, and look at the dialogue on page 280. So this is just a glimpse of where you could be when you are studying level 2 of integrated Chinese. Let's go over to level 3. According to the table of contents, level 3 covers starting a new semester at school, dorm life, a restaurant chapter, shopping, choosing classes, dating, computers and internet, working part-time, education, and the geography of China. I am going to go to computers and internet on page 197 and see just what, oh look, screenshots of the actual Chinese internet on the chapter page. Whoa, my gosh. This is, well, this book, first of all, contains traditional characters on one side and simplified characters on the other, but this is not super simple language. And look, the dialogue goes on to page 200 and 201, and then to page 202, and we actually have screenshots of Chinese tech. So that's cool. Looking at page 205, Snapchat, Instagram, and those are actually the real icons, at least for now in 2020. So that's pretty cool. I am impressed. Let's take a glimpse of the 4th level textbook, and you will see just how good you will be once you get to this level. Looking at lesson 11, it's China's holidays, changes in China, a trip to Yunnan province, lifestyle and health, gender equality, environmental protection and energy conservation, wealth management, China's history, job interview, the world is getting smaller. What is going on with wealth management on page? What that looks like. Well, there's the crazy dialogue at 194, but of course, you're gonna be this good by the time you get there, so it will make sense. 196 has some money shots and real apartments on the right side of the page. That's actually, looks like the outsides of some apartments I lived in when I was in China. And then going through money, the vocabulary seems to be on point. I like these on page 201, these how about you sections, because it's conversation. Let's read it. 天明, that is a character, 的姑妈考虑投资, so she's considering investment. 要么买房, 要么钞票. She's either going to buy a house or do stock market stuff. And if you look on page 202, that looks like an actual real announcement for a financial something. I didn't actually read it, but 你不理财, 财不理你. If you don't pay attention to finance, then then wealth won't pay attention to you. It's pretty cool. It looks like a Chinese ad. If I didn't know any better, I'd say it was one of the Chinese ads that I saw in China. Tap or click the screen right there to see an overview of several other textbooks that I have overviewed. You'll see really quickly that they don't hold a candle to integrated Chinese. My name's Kwadwo. I'm helping you so that you learn Chinese effectively and make tons of progress. Good study, day up.